In Chicago, you know that all sports rock. The Bears, Hawks, Bulls, Cubs, and Sox. Pick your favorite, you can choose. As long as the Packers lose. For everything you need to know, it's Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. This is your hosts Alex and Sean. On this episode, we're going to be talking about a little Bears off season, some Bulls, some Blackhawks, a little baseball. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Rockford Ice Hogs. If you're not familiar with the Rockford Ice Hogs, they're the AHL minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. What does that mean for you? You could see the stars of tomorrow today at family-friendly, affordable prices. Season is going on right now, so head on over to icehogs.com, get yourself a hat, shirt, jersey, tickets, and more. Tell them Swerski Sports sent you. Alex, my friend, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. Nice weather today. I was actually by Wrigley Field today for a little bit.
Oh,
So that
nice.
was kind of cool. Yeah. Uh, the weather was really nice for this time of year. And I mean, considering the fact that we had negative chills not too long ago, not going to complain. And also not complaining about actually getting sunshine
Oh,
because the overcast was killer.
yeah. It was nice having a little sun and um, the weather hit what, 45 today?
Yeah. Low mid 40s. So combine that with sun, pretty comfortable for this time of year.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is Chicago. We're used to February you could have a foot of snow or more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's supposed to hit Thursday. It's supposed to hit almost 60.
That's crazy. I knew it was supposed to get into like the 50s. I didn't know it was going to be that high. So I'll welcome that.
Yeah, going to be high of 59 on Thursday.
Mother Nature is celebrating the approaching of pitchers and catchers reporting, obviously.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think we all are.
Yeah, we need it. Seriously. We just need some baseball in our lives. I mean, we need to see that light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to this kind of weather and just a change of pace from current sports because my God, it's depressing.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to talk baseball here since we're
Sure,
on?
why not? Why not?
Um, so as you said, we're just days away from pitchers and catchers reporting. Uh,
Hmm.
the Cubs, the pitchers and catchers report on Valentine's Day, which what is that? 10 days?
Yeah, it's coming up.
And then the full squad reports 5 days later. And their first game is on February 23rd against the White Sox.
Yeah, it's coming fast and it's crazy because that feels early, but hey,
Uh,
it's just coming quick.
yeah. Um, but the White Sox actually had some moves.
You know, it's funny, like they've been making a lot of moves. I'm not saying they're picking up the top free agents, but they're making a lot of moves, though this weekend they made a couple of trades that kind of make you go, "Huh, okay, interesting." And not necessarily in a bad way. Some interesting moves. I mean, I don't know how effective Chris Getz is going to be. I think that there's not a lot of trust in him right now, but I do feel like he deserves a chance here. And I do feel like he's pretty self aware of the fact that there needs to be a lot of change here because he's not really just letting it all run itself back. I mean, sure, we can debate about what they should do with Dylan Cease, and that's a scenario where it takes two to tango. But Chris Getz has made a lot of moves here, and a lot of them are just fillers for a retool rebuilding season. But the trades they made this weekend are kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so uh, one is they got Dominic Fletcher from Arizona,
Hmm.
and Dominic Fletcher is a pretty decent prospect. He had a um, cup of coffee in the bigs this year. Got when it's in 28 games at 100 or 93 at bats. and finished with a slash line of 301, 350, 441 with an OPS of 791. And 2 home runs. That's but the problem is that Arizona, he's an outfielder. Arizona, that's a blocked path for them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it was really, you had a prospect that was stuck, and the White Sox capitalized on that. And
yeah, and I think that the Diamondbacks wanted like a pitching type, and they wanted a hitting type. The White Sox did. So yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so that worked out, and the likelihood of Fletcher playing on opening day, I would assume that, assuming he has even a decent spring training, it's a good likelihood that he's going to be in the mix for the starting one of the starting outfield spots.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, he's got to be. It's because that area has been really scarce for a while. I mean, you've had a rotation of guys, and at least now you're rotating guys in who can play the position. And you think, okay, maybe he has a future here. It's not like you're plugging in Andrew Vaughn or you're going with Gavin Sheets again, because I think that you got to kind of move on from the Gavin Sheets type experiment here. I mean, and sure, there's still some mystery here, but I think there's a lot more upside with this move than other moves that could have been made here.
Yeah, I mean, so this one makes a lot of sense for the White Sox, and the pitcher they gave up. I mean, last year he had a split season between Double-A and Triple-A, and in Double-A, he had a 4.66 ERA and a 7-6 record, and in Triple-A he was 1-1 with a 5.95 ERA. So, I mean, he's only 21, but that seems like a no-brainer trade for the White Sox.
I mean, you're not trading Dylan Cease for this or your top pitching prospect for this. He was like what, their 9th or 10th ranked prospect, something like that.
Yeah, and so I call this basically you're trading away a lottery ticket for a guy who played in the bigs last year and can fill a spot for you. So I like that move for the White Sox. That's a decent move. And then in the other move, the White Sox traded with the Mariners, and so they gave the Mariners Gregory Santos in exchange for Prelander Borrero, outfielder Zach Deloche, and a 2024 competitive balance round B pick, number 69 overall.
For a second, I thought that said Zach LaRoche. I'm like, wait, what? Is there another?
Deloche.
Is there another LaRoche around here?
Is he bringing his son around?
Yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah, this one is one I don't know a ton about. So, I this one I'm not a lot sure about.
Gregory Santos was a good reliever last year, and he's got a lot of years of control. But if you are a team in transition, I think it's kind of good that you're selling high on a reliever because of how fickle relievers can be. So you're taking advantage of value you have now going into a season where you're not expected to be a top World Series contender.
Yeah, let's see. Barrero was the 15th prospect in the Seattle system. And in 2022, he had a 2.86 ERA in high A and Double-A. And they moved him to a bullpen arm. And he had almost a 37% strikeout rate and a 2.89 ERA as a bullpen guy. So it seems like they're just trying to go even younger and go to the future.
Yeah, and my understanding with him is that he's got great stuff. It's just the control is what needs a little more improving.
Yeah, and then Deloche is he was the second round pick in 2020 of Seattle. And last year he's a right fielder. He slashed 286, 387, 481 in AAA and a 111 WRC plus. So I mean, again, that seems like it's another guy who is probably close to being ready to play in the majors. So they're trying to cheaply find outfield help,
Mm-hmm.
because you you know who's that third outfielder, and that's been a problem for how long for the White
Long
Sox.
time, long
Who
time.
who's the? I saw somebody joke that Fletcher in his 93 at bats last year had a higher ERA or a higher WAR than anybody else in right field for the White Sox last year.
Oof.
I don't know if it's true, but it did make me chuckle.
I
Um,
mean, I mean, it's believable, right?
yeah, it's just been a revolving door
I
of
mean, Oscar Colas spent a lot of time last year in right, wasn't he? And he was a negative WAR.
yeah. I mean, it's White Sox in that right field spot is kind of like a defense against the dark arts teacher at Hogwarts.
It really is. And it seems like there were a lot of chances to easily fix it, but the Sox are like, nah, we'll put Andrew Vaughn out there. We'll put Gavin Sheets out there. We'll put Oscar Colas out there. I mean, obviously Oscar Colas plays out there, but I think there was a lot of hope that he was going to be, a big league contributor, and maybe he will in the future. He's not that old. He was once a high touted prospect, but last year his rookie year just didn't go as well as nearly as well as people hoped.
It makes me feel like these two trades uh, tell you something about what the new front office thinks about Oscar Colas.
I mean, yeah, it's if he was still like a prime prospect, you wouldn't think that you would be finding a bunch of replacements, right? And uh you can't help but wonder with that. That's definitely true.
And that pick, that 69th pick in the that they got um, uh, in the competitive balance. I was reading that that's going to basically give about $1 million in the the prospect pool for the White Sox to play with. So that's nice to be able to draft somebody over slotted.
Hmm.
I don't know if the White Sox actually do that, but it does add money into the pool that they can use to try to get a better prospect. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see how these go, but they are making moves. Um,
Don't forget they signed Kevin Pillar.
oh yeah, they did to a minor league contract. um, and he was with Atlanta last year, and this inked a non-roster deal with the Braves last winter and actually made the camp. Um, but uh, his slash line last year was pretty bad. 228, 248, 416, and 206 at bats.
Yeah, I mean he's 35, he's over the hill at this point, but he's depth, so
Yeah. But I mean, again, this is they are trying the let's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks method of solving right field, because you got Benintendi in left, you got um Lou
Luis
Bob,
Robert, yeah.
Lou Bob in center, and then it's the guy you got from Seattle, the guy you just got from Arizona, uh Kevin Pillar, Oscar Colas, Gavin Sheets, and that's a lot of guys trying out for. I mean, you'll probably have two make the squad.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's a it's one method of trying to solve this.
And there was something I read too about the Sox. I think it was yesterday. There was an article posted. I pardon me, I don't remember who wrote it, but might have been from the Sun Times, but I don't remember exactly. But a lot of White Sox fans were upset, and I can understand why. Basically, what I was trying to say was, hey, maybe the White Sox will do better than you think because some of these players are playing for their careers. And that might be true. But a lot of Sox fans are upset because they're thinking, oh, so now you give a shit and you know who they're referring to.
Yeah.
Like guys like Mancada um, being one of the big ones. And I mean, here's the thing. He's been pretty bad overall the past few years, and he's been injured. He's had injury issues. Last year, second half, he actually played really well. But again, Sox fans are like, well, where the hell was this for the past 2 years when the games mattered? By the time he started raking, the games didn't mean shit. So it will be kind of interesting to see how some of these remaining Han rebuild core guys do next year. I mean, Luis Robert, I think, is still going to be very good. He was very good last year. He's could be even better this year. I think he's a insanely talented player. He's got the talent to be a top player in this game. But is Eloy going to be healthy? And if so, what's he going to produce?
I mean,
No.
Eloy's like one of the few people that gets injured as a DH.
Right.
How does that happen? That dude is injury prone, and I don't want to knock him because he's talented. It's just, man, that guy is his body is frail. So you
I mean,
don't.
you remember that spat with Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez? They're freaking showing the brawl, and then out comes Eloy hobbling around like one of the Three Stooges because like he got stepped on, and people are like, "Are you kidding me?"
Uh, yeah, I mean, you don't know what you're gonna get from him or for how long you'll get it for. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of questions, and here's the thing: is is there a path for the White Sox to be a respectable team?
Next year, this coming year, or in the future.
No, next year. The problem next year, this coming season that we're about to go into spring training for, they just have no pitching.
That's the thing. I
That's
don't think that, yeah, their
that's the
pitching
problem.
not looking good. Not looking good. I mean, look at their bullpen right now. John Brebbia is going to be your closer. He's a
Mm.
decent reliever at best, not great. But then so I just pulled up their Fangraphs projections. So I'm looking at their bullpen. So Brebbia is your closer. Your setup guys are Tim Hill and Jimmy Lambert. Prelander Baroa is projected to make the team. Deve Garcia, Tuki Toussaint, Shane Drohan, and Garrett Crochet, if he is actually healthy. And how Garrett Crochet is even going to do, your guess is as good as mine. But yeah, I'm not looking at that bullpen thinking, oh boy, that's lights out. And then you look at the rotation. As of now, you got Dylan Cease. We know he's good. Eric Fede, the former Nationals prospect who played in the KBO last year. Michael Kopech, Michael Sikora or Soroka, and Chris Flexen. That's your rotation right there.
I mean, they are trying Garrett Crochet as a starter.
That's what I thought,
I
but
don't
that
know.
doesn't.
I don't
Why?
know how that will actually go.
He's a two pitch pitcher who's barely pitched the past few years. I just
That's
I don't get it.
that's the problem. I mean, if you look, but you look at their fielding, their position players. You're like, okay. I mean, nothing spectacular, but uh, Yoan plays well, Luis Robert plays well, Eloy's healthy, Benintendi was decent, Andrew Vaughn. That's that's a pretty decent 1 through 5.
Yeah, I
If
was gonna.
if everybody plays, it's just you're gonna have to score a lot of runs to be competitive.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing too, is they might if they get some breaks and some of those things you just alluded to go right, like Eloy Jimenez staying on the field, which as of right now, it's hard to say that's going to happen. But if it does, and Yoan Moncada kind of picks off where he was last year in the second half, you get what you get from Luis Robert. Andrew Vaughn gives you what he gave you last year, which is fine numbers, not great numbers, but fine numbers. And if Andrew Benintendi hits like 270 with an OBP around 350, that lineup, it's not anemic. The thing is that you look at other areas, it's like, okay, your catchers are not going to give you any sort of offensive production right now. It's Martin Maldonado and Max Stassi.
And Martin Maldonado is about to be 38 years old.
Yes.
I like
And
Martin Maldonado. He's old.
he's old. Last year, because his defensive metrics throughout his career have been very good, but they're starting to dip. And that's what happens when you're going to be 38 years old. And he does have some sneaky okay power, but he's probably not going to hit higher than 200 and have an OBP above like, I don't know, 280 at the most, at the very most.
Yeah, here's how Fangraphs is projecting their roster. Benintendi in left, batting first. Andrew Vaughn at first, batting second. Lou Bob in center, batting third. Yoan Moncada, third, batting cleanup. Eloy DH, batting fifth. Dominic Fletcher in right, batting sixth. Paul DeYoung at short, batting seventh. Nicky Lopez, batting eighth, playing second. And Martin Maldonado catching and batting ninth, with their bench at Max Stassi, Gavin Sheets, Lenine Sosa, and Kevin Pillar. And you went through their rotation. I mean, I'm sure Tuki Toussaint is going to get a shot as a starter.
Yep.
Garrett Crochet, they said, seems a little silly, but so I don't know. I mean, maybe they pony up 35 million a year for Blake Snell.
Yeah, sure.
half their salary is Blake Snell.
Yeah, the one that intrigues me, do you remember when Michael Soroka came up with the Braves in like 2018, 2019?
A little bit, yeah.
He was really freaking good. In 2019,
He was
he
first round
went,
pick.
yeah, I mean, he's a highly regarded talent. I mean, 2019, 174 and two-thirds innings. That's 29 starts, 268 ERA, a FIP of 345, and a 4 F4. Pretty darn good. Then pitched 13 and two-thirds in 2020, and then hasn't pitched until last year where he appeared in 32 innings. Numbers obviously not good at all, but he was just coming back from basically missing 2 years. Is he ever going to rebound fully? I don't know. It's hard when you have multiple injuries that are that severe, but I do think there's talent in the guy. And at this rate, you got nothing to lose to see. So maybe he surprises you. I'm not saying he's going to blow the world away, but if you're still on Fangraphs, he's projected to be a 4.55 ERA pitcher. And it's like, okay, that's like a little less than mediocre these days. But like, if he gives you like average numbers throughout a season, then maybe that's something. I don't know. It's interesting to see what he's gonna do. Um, are you seeing these projections though for Michael Kopech?
No. How bad are they?
Not good. Let me pull up the full projections because it just gives you some. This is probably my guess is this is going off Steamer. Okay, so Steamer's a little different, but it's still pretty much so. Fangraphs has a 5.02 ERA and a 5.19 FIP. Steamer has a 5.2 ERA, 5.35 FIP. Strikeouts per nine, above 8.5. So between like an 8.3 and a 9 between those projections, which is kind of, you know, around where his career numbers are. But yeah, mm, projections don't look very good.
Um, so I'm gonna bring up something not related to Cubs or Sox, but in the baseball realm, and I'm gonna tie it in to the White Sox.
Okay.
I want your honest reaction to the Corbin Burnes trade.
I think that the Orioles got a really dang good deal.
I think so too. I was arguing with somebody. I don't think it was a bad deal on the Brewers' part. I just think it was a little underwhelming. Thought they would have got more.
Yeah, me too. I mean, just considering, even though he's only got 1 year control left, I mean, that's a really, really high end arm, and pitching just costs a premium these days. And I think that it could work out for the Brewers for them, but I don't see the Orioles regretting one bit making that deal. Like they didn't give away any of their top. That farm system is so freaking loaded, and none of their top valued guys went away. I don't think they care about what they gave up, even if it does work decently for Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean Ortiz is a fairly high prospect. I think he was like their fifth or sixth rated prospect, maybe seventh, somewhere around there. Um, but he uh he's blocked. Again,
Hmm.
he's blocked. So um he's mostly known as a defensive player with potential for some offense. And he's major league ready. So for the Brewers, I guess that makes sense. Is you got two major league ready guys and uh, a draft pick, and the bullpen guy. The numbers look. Um, he had a cup of coffee in the bigs last year. Um, he played a little bit in AAA, a little bit in rookie ball, and um, had 18 games in the bigs with a 3.26 ERA. Um, so I guess they're banking on that upside. But if you're the Orioles, neither of these two guys are one of your high priority farm system guys, and you got a front end rotation, like top of the rotation guy in that division. You need it, and you know if the Orioles have a new ownership, so this is good because you get a year for him to get a feel, Burnes to get a feel of the organization, and the organization to get a feel of him, get their finances in order, see if this works out, then maybe goes to an extension. But you get a year with you were already a really good team last year, and you add a frontline guy in that division that goes far. So I mean it's a win now deal for the Orioles, but um I don't I don't think they're hurting for whatever they gave up.
No, no. And I mean, think about it. If Burns just dominates and you can give him an extension, I mean, that's going to help keep you in contention for years to come because you have an established, top tier guy right there. So, I mean, I think that that was just a slam dunk trade for the Orioles. They didn't have to pay any of their top guys for Dylan Cease, and you're taking that chance of, hey, we might have him for 1 year, but if he's dazzling us, we can pay him for more. It'll just
Yeah,
cost us money at that point. And
I mean he's a
the old
board.
owner wouldn't have done that, but the new owners could.
Yeah, you have a new ownership, so if gives them a year to figure out kind of what they want to do, and Burnes is not going to sign an extension because he's a Boris client, but at least it puts you in that. Hey, if he liked it there and he had a good experience with the Orioles, they've got the money because they're not paying anybody. So they'll have the money to re-sign him. I mean, it'll have to go to the marketplace, but if it does go a long way if the client's like, hey, give me the most money, but if things are close, I'd rather stay in Baltimore because I had a really good experience there and I was comfortable there. You know, that does add something. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about that, when we get to the Cubs, but I want to spin this to the White Sox and the Dylan Cease issue because Cease, it's pretty evident that he's on the block and they're trying to get rid of him. And
Right.
obviously you don't want to give him away. I mean, this would not, if I'm Getz and this is the trade you offer me for Dylan Cease, zero interest, not interested. Sorry.
No, there's for his years of control, no way.
I mean, it's 2 years of control, essentially. But yes,
Still,
you get a
that's
whole nother.
multiple years.
Oh yeah, you get another year over what Corbin Burns is, but Corbin Burns had a much better year last year. So those things I wouldn't say quite equal out, but it does equalize them a little bit. But that trade, that return doesn't move me enough to want to move from the best pitcher by a mile on my roster.
Yeah, I mean, and it's clear that they're asking for the moon for him.
And they should.
Because I think it was the Braves or some team during like their fan fest or whatever, and they're like, so are you not trading for Dylan Cease? They're like, no, too expensive. So
I mean, what the things going against them is teams are going to look at that Corbin Burns trade and try to use that a little bit as leverage. Shane Bieber's still on the market. There's still free agent pitchers that are available, good free agent pitchers. So you've got a situation where you're not the only game in town. And so I know Bruce Levine is talking about how they're, he expected a trade before opening day. I'm not sure if I see that. Because why would
seems
you?
less and less people are saying that.
I don't buy that at this point. I still think it gets a little risky for. I mean, this is a gamble because, like I keep saying, is if he comes out and pitches the first half and looks awesome, somebody's going to pay you a ton at the deadline.
Yes.
Because you're gonna have teams that are desperate for pitching, they're in the hunt, and they're like, you know what, we're going for it. And once you're close, because everybody thinks they're better than they are before February 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Every team thinks they're better than they are, and then reality hits once the season starts. But those teams that are better than they thought, or are right in this hunt, there's gonna be teams that are desperate for pitching, and if he is pitching lights out, you're like, okay, well, it's not a rental. We've got him all next year too, and you're gonna pony up. But man, if he gets injured, if he just poops the bed and is just not pitching well, or he's got no run support, and it's you're pitching, you're trying to pitch longer into games because you got no bullpen, and things just go off the rails because you're on a bad team. It's teams are going to be like, nah, not interested. And
right.
The White Sox end up keeping him. And if he doesn't have a good year this year, you're not getting anything for him next year when he will be a rental.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of risks there. And, obviously the last thing you want is for him to get hurt in mid-season before they trade him. But it's kind of the balancing act because he could up his value pitching really, really well.
Yeah.
Until the trade deadline, if he doesn't get moved by then.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those situations where you as a front office executive need to know your players better than anybody else, and you have an expectation of what Dylan Cease is going to look like that you better feel good about, because that's that's how you're going into the season, carrying him with you.
Right.
And if you feel, hey, we feel confident that this guy is rebounding and he's going to look really good, and he's young and controllable for 2 years, all right, then you stay confident. But if you are hesitant, or you're trying to cover up the warts, then you better be willing to negotiate, because uh that's you're playing with fire. And that's part of that's part of where the White Sox flounder, because they don't have good um scouting, and they don't have good analytics. Or sorry, they don't have robust analytics. Probably not good either, but they don't have robust analytics. So it's old school eyeballing, what how they work.
They use the TWTW glasses.
Uh, he's got a off the charts on the TWTW. They call up Hawk. Hawk, how do you feel about this? Play with my grandson here in Indiana, but he's got the TWTW. I like that. You don't go trading him now.
I like to picture Jerry making Chris Getz take the TWTW glasses, and after he fired Rick and Kenny, he's like, "All right, better hand over your TWTW glasses." And Kenny Williams is like, "No, not that, anything but that." And he's got him in like a little pouch, and you just see Jerry and Kenny playing tug of war with it. Like, no, they're mine now. No, not my TWTW glasses. No.
He hands him over to Jerry. Jerry hands him to Michael, and Michael gets him out and it starts polishing him off with the disinfecting spray, and then hands the old used glasses over to Chris Getz. These are yours now.
And
There's
Chris
only
Getz just
there's only
goes,
one pair. Don't break them.
if you do, you'll have to tape them back together.
That'll be out of your paycheck.
I kind of like to think the TWTW glasses are taped together like Harry Potter's glasses.
Uh,
Hopefully, though, speaking of all this analytics stuff and how the White Sox evaluate, hopefully some of those other executives that they brought in, like the dude from the Diamondbacks, bring forth some good things to the table and some good. I mean, they made the one trade with the Diamondbacks, and you figure he's got to know him pretty well. So you hope that some of these guys that Chris Getz brought in really help the analytics side of things, coming from other organizations and bringing their knowledge to the table. That's what you hope for.
yeah, I mean, you did make a trade with Arizona, and you got a guy. I'm sure that this trade came from him. And that's good, because he knows the players that were there. Um, but yeah, I mean, you're gonna if you are the front office for the White Sox, you're hindered by the fact that your farm system's not super deep. I mean, I guess they've gotten deeper, but um, your major league roster, the pitching is abysmal. You have very, very limited financial restraints, and you better be able to work your magic with like last year with the Marlins, or anything with Tampa, where they're operating on shoestrings and still winning. Like you have to pull that kind of magic.
Yeah, and you need a lot of prospects to do that. Good
Uh,
prospects.
and uh, the only other real thing going on with the White Sox is that the stadium at the 78. I mean, we had the commissioner of baseball talking about it. This seems like an all systems go here. I'm just curious of the term "no new taxes" was thrown around.
Yeah,
What?
we had wasn't that Father Bush that said that?
Yeah, read my lips. No new
No new
taxes.
taxes.
I don't know what they mean by that, because um, what old money are they going to throw towards this? And it seems more and more like Jerry is orchestrating these deals, knowing full well he's not paying for this and that he's going to sell the team, that he's going to orchestrate all this. He's going to be able to hand over a baseball team that has no budget, like a fresh slate, a brand new stadium with a view of downtown, walking distance from downtown, overlooking the river and the lake and the view of the skyline. And he's going to sell this for a metric poop ton of money. It just
I
seems
mean,
more and more like it. I mean, he's older, and this is his definition of winning, not winning on the field. I don't think he cares so much about that. It's winning in business.
yeah, I mean, winning in business is priority number one for him, always has.
And do you remember how much Jerry Reinsdorf paid for the White Sox?
Something really small. I know that. It was back in what, the early 80s?
He paid $19 million.
Wow.
Um, and with this new stadium, he's probably going to get 2.3 billion ish,
Hmm.
maybe a little more because of the location of the new stadium and the fact that you're in a big market.
Hmm.
That's a big win. You took a $19 million investment. You reaped profit off of it every single year, except maybe the 2 COVID years. You reaped a profit for almost 40 years.
Well, wasn't there some years in the late 90s where they infamously just broke even?
Whenever
Like
base
after the white flag trade or whatever?
Here's what I say about baseball is open up those books. Baseball is notorious for having, it's like movie studios where they broke even, and they just because they don't want to pay royalties to people on
Yeah.
profit. It base like NFL, it's competitive balance. You never hear about like the second set of books or funky. It is pretty open. Um, Baseball, it is very, you know, open those books. I mean, the players union is like open those books, especially, it's been said before, and especially during COVID, like open those books and let us see what's going on here.
Yeah,
You're
they
talking
yell
about biblical losses. What does that mean?
they yell open those books and you see Tom Ricketts like just he's got the big giant book in his hand like caressing it, running away. No, you'll never see it.
Uh, but I mean, so, they broke even, but I don't believe that. And if you break even owning a professional sports team, it's he's going to walk away where he's okay. We can agree that since he's bought it, he's made over $19 million in profit,
Oh
correct?
God, yes. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. I mean, overall in his entire tenure, he's definitely made a profit.
Like a so he is It's going to be in the billions. There's nothing for him to pay off. The sweetheart deal with the old stadium, and what is going to happen with the old stadium?
I don't know.
No
I
idea.
wonder. I really do wonder. I mean, because
Not his problem.
right, I just what are you gonna what is going to are you just gonna tear it down?
I don't know.
Is it going to be repurposed for other sports like the fire or something? I don't know.
That's a huge question. I want to know. I'd live in the city, and if any of my tax money is going towards this White Sox new stadium, I'm already pissed off about the money that they gave to the last one. Who what are you doing with that, and what money is going to this? And but you've got Manfred involved, and he seems optimistic, and Jerry's a mover and shaker in the business world still, and the new mayor seems amenable to something, and there must be some. I mean, the new mayor. It seems like there must be something going on because we'll get to this more with the Bears, but the Bears are now focused on a Chicago location,
Ugh.
and the White Sox uh are it's we're getting really close to the 78 being a baseball location. What
Yeah.
will suck is the traffic driving around there. Roosevelt Road is already miserable.
Yes, it is.
Um,
Yes,
so
it is.
like anytime, day or night, is miserable over there. So they better, as part of that, build the red line extension. And I know that was approved because whatever they were going to build at the 78 originally involved having an L stop there. And there needs to be one because the one before is in downtown and the one after is in Chinatown. So there's not a stop right there. I used to work like literally across the street from the 78. And getting there by public transportation really sucked. So putting an L stop there, smart for the city, smart for uh, you know, or good for the baseball team, smart for the city.
The Jerry Express.
Yeah, and then you can still keep that red line feud with the Cubs. Um, but yeah, I mean, so it seems like this is really pushing forward, and it's big for the White Sox.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a lot more optimistic than Arlington Heights, that's for sure.
Yeah. Um, Cubs, crickets, crickets, crickets.
Well, we know the stuff is loaded to spring training, and they didn't show any pictures of Cody Bellinger stowed away on that.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's going to happen. I wonder if it's a Blake Snell type situation where Boris is just standing firm on this ridiculous amount of money that he thinks that they deserve, and
Yep.
he, and everybody sort of just walked away from it at this point. So now it's you're basically bidding against yourself, and I just wonder how long before somebody. It's a game of chicken at this point, I guess.
It is a game of chicken. It absolutely is a game of chicken, and it's at the point where I've just stopped paying attention to it. Like whenever it happens, it's just whenever it happens. Because I know the chances of me waking up one day and seeing Cody Bellinger. I'm always telling myself today's not going to be that day because they're stuck playing chicken and there's nothing seemingly close.
Yeah, I probably naively was saying or thinking that, oh, we're close because it doesn't seem like there's any other suitors for Bellinger and it's a good fit. He liked it. I know he liked it. I know he would like to be back. But it's if the Cubs aren't budging from what they're offering, Boris is not budging especially at this time. So I I bet this might even go till the end of February.
It very well could. It could go into March.
Because as long as Bellinger, I mean, that's the issue is if you're the Cubs, you want him in camp taking swings so he doesn't start off in Chicago looking flat.
Right.
But if you're Boris, doesn't matter as long as he's got that contract in place.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, remember Arrieta? Didn't he not sign until March in 2018? I think it was.
Maybe it was late.
It was very late.
So this could drag out. I still would be shocked if he went elsewhere, but
You never truly know.
you never know. Somebody could swoop in. I just think we're the Angels, maybe.
Yeah, Art Moreno overpays him to compensate for losing Shohei Ohtani.
That's really the only spot I can think of that would have the ability to do it or the
I was
need.
worried for the Blue Jays for a while, but they've made a bunch of other moves.
Yeah, they've spent some money and they've filled some holes. I don't. I don't
The
think they're in it. The same with
Giants,
the
maybe,
Giants
but
have spent money and filled some holes. I think I think they're kind of done. The Phillies, no. Um, Yankees already spent money and filled holes. So I mean, a lot of these other teams just aren't spenders. So
no.
um,
Like,
I
I still feel like the chances are good he's going to come back to the Cubs. It's just a matter of when.
yeah, I just want him to get spring training in some amount of spring training.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Um, yeah. So and then you've got uh you've still got starting pitching out there. Blake Snell is standing firm, wanting. Apparently, they're throwing around the Steven Strasburg contract, which that's a bad comp because that every owner knows that was a terrible deal.
Yeah. Just too bad. But
Um,
injuries played a lot with that.
right, but I mean, you know, Blake Snell can hit some high highs, but he
Hmm.
can he can hit some mids too.
Yes, he can. Right. Strasburg was a better pitcher as a whole.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think you're going to see Snell get the deal he wants either.
I don't think so.
Um, so I mean, but there's still quite a few of decent MLB free agents left. This is getting wild because you're going to have pitchers and catchers reporting, and a lot of the top 15 free agents still available.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot that's left to be done here. And we're already in February. I mean, isn't there going to come a time where the players are like, all right, this is getting ridiculous. I want to know where the hell I'm going.
Um, so let's see. I'm looking at Bleacher Report, and what are they predicting here? Go through these. They got their remaining pitching or predictions. Um, Blake Snell, they're predicting the Angels. But yeah, Blake Snell's still available. Bellinger, they pick Cubs. Bellinger still available. Um, Jordan Montgomery, they're predicting the Rangers, but he's still available. Matt Chapman, still available. They're predicting Giants for him. I'm curious of what I think he's going to end up taking a prove it deal.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say no to a prove it deal here if it's a prove it deal.
If you got a one or a 1-on-1, I'm totally fine with Chapman. I don't want a long term deal with him.
I agree. I agree.
I just don't want that. JD Martinez, they predict.
There hasn't been a lot of buzz about him.
No. I mean, he's older. Was he like 36, 37?
Yeah, he's up there.
But he had a good season last year.
Yeah, he was productive.
Um, Mike Clevenger still available. Not surprising. They predict the Red Sox. Jorge Soler still available. They're predicting the Twins. Clayton Kershaw is still available. This one's a surpriser. Not so much. I mean, uh, he wasn't great last year, but he wasn't bad. I mean,
You
I
think
mean,
someone of his caliber and still what he can probably do would garner some interest, unless he's just asking for a lot. But I don't, I don't know.
he had shoulder surgery in November, so
That's probably what it is.
that's so. Maybe he doesn't go anywhere until mid-season. I mean,
It's hard with shoulder surgery too when you're as old as you are in that case. It's not like he's 24, 25. He's mid 30s getting up there.
Michael Taylor's available. They expect the Pirates. Tim Anderson still available. They expect the Marlins.
There's been absolutely no buzz about Tim Anderson.
No. And I mean, that guy, everything, the whole house of cards just collapsed on that guy last year.
Which is crazy. Remember, like, it felt like just yesterday he was like a star in this game.
I mean, he was a star in this city, star in this game, and his marriage fell apart, and he got beat up on the field,
Lost all of his power.
lost all power, and he lost all of his credibility, and he had an abysmal season, and just you know, he's not going to get a lot. Let's see. Tommy Pham is still available.
Don't even think about it.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just going through the guys that are
I
available.
know. I'm just saying. Last show, you're like, "Hey, look, Tommy Pham's available for the Cubs. Hey, look at that."
Whit Merrifield for the Cubs. The Cubs finally asked the girl to the dance.
He's going to the White Sox. He's a Royal.
It's funny how many years that the Cubs were enticed by Whit Merrifield, and now he's just there, and they're just nah.
Yeah,
We're good.
it was like Brian Roberts and Jake Peavy. You remember those days, right? The Brian Roberts days.
Yep. Michael Lorenzen still available. He's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a like a middle rotation kind of guy. You're probably not overpaying him, and you're probably, I'm gonna guess, 2 years, low 20s million, and you've got a guy that can start you, 25, 26, 27 games. I mean, not saying the Cubs, but I'm just saying that there's worse guys to have on your rotation. He's not that old. Yeah, but Brandon Belt's still out there. Yeah, the list kind of drops off there, but there's still a decent number of guys that can help a team out, and just they're still there in early February. The groundhog's already not seen his shadow, and these guys are still dangling out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still making the assumption that the Cubs get Bellinger, but do you think they make any other moves, or do you think they wait and see what things look like at the beginning of spring training first?
I think they'll make some other moves, maybe some small ones, and I still feel like there's some sort of trade coming, whether it's a bat, whether it's a pitcher. I feel like there's some sort of trade coming here. And I also think too, there's going to be an element of, hey, let's see what some of these prospects can do in camp. I'm not saying it's what I fully agree with, but that's what I could see happening.
Looking at this, I don't know, maybe another bullpen arm. And Joey Votto is still out there.
No,
I'm not. I'm
okay.
Saying, why?
Okay.
Why doesn't he retire?
I don't know.
He's tarnishing his legacy at this point.
I mean, last year was kind of the perfect year to go out. Like the Reds were getting back to relevancy again. He's clearly done.
He is cooked.
He's clearly done.
He's 40 years old. He has made a lot of money. That is a guy that can transition to the booth because he's funny.
Oh yeah, he's got a great personality. He should be in the media. He could go to the booth. He could be a content creator. He could do all sorts of things for MLB.
He
It's
could,
just
he could go to the Reds booth and he could be there for as long as he wanted to be.
absolutely, absolutely.
It just
That's what he
seems
should do.
like I don't know why he just hasn't retired. It's silly at this point. Unless he's hoping that the Reds will sign him to another deal or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Uh, I don't know. Joey Votto. There's a time, man, I would have given my left arm to have Joey Votto.
Yep,
That's not 2024.
yep. That's those days are long past.
Here's another White Sox move that could be out there. Colton Wong.
He's still available?
He's still available. I'm gonna throw another name out there for the White Sox could go after. Randall Grichuk.
Oh, I could totally see that.
I can see both of those. Those are some White Sox moves.
Yep.
But yeah, the Cubs is very quiet. It's
Yep. Yep.
so where do you want to go from here?
Well, we can officially not have, as if we didn't already, we can officially just slam the door shut on this Bulls thing, right? With the news.
Yeah, so Bulls, I mean, obviously everybody's probably heard that Zach LaVine done for the year, having foot surgery. So obviously he's not getting traded. I just don't understand what AK's plan is.
I don't either.
I mean, here's the thing. You re-signed Zach because you didn't want to lose him for nothing. Okay, I get it.
Which I think was the right move.
Right. You re-signed
Vooch.
Vooch because you didn't want to lose him for nothing. I
But
didn't
he's
agree
not,
with that
he's
one.
going in the wrong direction.
You were in the position where you're going to lose DeMar DeRozan for nothing. So trade DeMar DeRozan. Don't sign him to a new contract. I love DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan has been an absolutely fantastic basketball player. He has been very good for the Bulls. I do not want another contract for him. Is move him at the deadline. We've got Tuesday? Tuesday's the deadline. Tuesday. Move him. Trade him. Let him go to a contender, and you would have traded him and gotten something for him. You don't have to sign him to that new deal. And get something because you have to pick a direction.
Yeah, you do.
I think at this point it's just a whole lot easier to go down than go up.
Well, and I mean, here's the thing. If you're giving DeMar DeRozan a new contract, you realize he's just going to keep getting older.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's in his mid-30s now.
So I just it doesn't make any sense to me. Don't just keep you made a run with this core. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
No, especially because it's going in the other direction. You had your initial run of making the playoffs and then, getting beaten 5 senselessly by Milwaukee. And then you made the play-in tournament, lucked into a game, and then lost the second one. And now your ceiling is just making the play-in tournament again. And even if you do, and you for some miracle somehow make it past that play-in tournament, As of right now, you'd be playing Boston in the first round. Uh-huh. Yeah, you're not winning anything there.
Yeah, it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And I mean, if you were to make trades and in the attempt to bottom out and start this rebuild, and you were able to play well enough to maintain, to stay in the hunt, in the play-in, I'm fine with that because it would be nice to have your young players get a taste of playoff level basketball. I'm good with that. I don't need them to just bottom out to try to get into a lottery position and cross your fingers like that. This is not a Victor Wembanyama situation where you're like, I'm just want to cash out and get a lottery ticket. There's nobody in here that just like blows me away. Is compete hard, play hard, but make these trades to put you in a position to hopefully build your team better going forward. I mean, I would do everything possible because Zach is off the table. Can't trade him.
Nope.
Is DeMar you can trade. Caruso you can trade.
Yes.
I would trade both.
I would too.
I mean, I would think between the three you could get, or those two, you could get 3 first rounders protected, obviously. So okay, that's. I mean, I know anything out of the top 10 in the NBA is you're lucky if you get anything, and the Bulls really haven't had a lot of luck in their drafting, but just takes one guy to hit big to turn this around.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the more first rounders you get, so I would move both of those guys, and then next year reconfigure how you're building this team. I mean, you're stuck with Zach, and because nobody's trading for him in the offseason either, because he's coming off of surgery. They're going to want to see
Right,
what
he's
he
gonna have
looks
to
like.
recover. Which, how do
So
they mismanage another injury?
no, I mean, now Pat Williams is injured, Dalen Terry is injured.
It's ridiculous.
I just um I just I mean, could somebody want to trade for Vooch? I doubt it.
You're not getting anything for Vooch.
I think you're stuck with him, but I think this is DeMar and Caruso. I think you can get something for both of those guys. That just seems the right move. I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, there's my emotional and time invest in this current team is so low right now.
I mean, I saw the news later than of a lot of folks, and when I saw it, I was like, "That all right, there we go, great."
Yeah, I saw it pop on my phone. I'm just like, oh, yikes.
So it is what it is, and I didn't. I mean, my hope. I mean, goes back to, did I hope that they would trade Zach? No. I just, it's, this marriage has been poor,
Yeah, you're not
and
going anywhere with this.
I don't know what the solution is. Do you go, well, we know that we're stuck with Zach for a while. Do we change coaching staffs and try to do something that's going to fit our talent better than what the system we have now is?
Man, it's just the same cycle over and over. How many rebuilds, how many changing of coaches? It's incredible. I mean, since Thibodeau left in what, 2015, 2016,
Mm-hmm.
you went through Hoiberg, then Jim Boylan. Ugh. And now, I mean, I love the Billy Donovan hire when it first happened, but and I can't blame everything on Billy Donovan, obviously, but uh,
I remember Thunder fans when we signed him. They were like, "Great coach. There's a reason that he was fired."
yeah,
And I think that's where we're at. Like, I don't deny he's a good coach. It's just there's he's not he is not getting the most out of the players.
No, and I also think that it's a combination of him not getting the most and just not always having the right personnel in place.
I mean, this is a multifaceted problem. Is I don't think AK has done a very good job of bringing in talent. Uh,
No, I don't either. The drafting has been abysmal.
yeah. Um, and I don't think Billy has done the best with the talent that's available. And the players just haven't done a good job of trying to mesh as a team. Guys aren't
No,
developing, guys aren't it's a bunch it is like a bunch of street ball players playing on the court. You're not a cohesive team.
I mean the nice thing is Kobe White is one of the few good stories. His positive development is something that we can look at and say, okay, this is good. But look at Patrick Williams. I mean, overall, has been a massive disappointment. Massive, massive disappointment. Dalen Terry is literally between the United Center and a bus out to the Dundee area for the Windy City Bulls every other few days. You're just not getting anything out of that. And you identified Vooch, and I remember when that trade went down, that looked like a big move. And Vooch has had his moments. Last year he was overall pretty good, but more like 2 years ago. But there's been a lot of frustration with him, and now he just looks cooked. It's like, I mean, DeMar has been his best move, right?
Oh, absolutely, hands down.
And maybe Alex Caruso following that. I mean, that was a good find. That was a good get. I think Lonzo Ball on the court is a great get, but he also is injured to the point where he might not play again.
Yeah.
But, you did what you had to do to give the max contract to Levine. You had to make that move. And since that, it's been a roller coaster. It hasn't been the consistent result that you've wanted to get out of a guy you gave a max contract to, a guy who was an all-star. The Vooch trade, like I said, it's been overall disappointing. Patrick Williams has been a letdown. Dalen Terry hasn't really been a factor. Um, just, I mean, Andre Drummond's been fined off the bench, I think, overall. Um, and then you just got some guys out there. I don't really know what else to say. Like, there's nothing that can be really said about this team. They're just directionless. They're just bobbing in the middle of an ocean with a massive leaks in their hull, and you're just kind of putting in corks to somewhat keep it afloat, but you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I hate rebuilding, but I don't see a path forward
And it
without
sucks.
without I mean, it's this draft class is not looking awesome,
No.
and the free agent market is not looking good, and you have nothing to trade. So how are you getting better? It would seem to me that this would be the time to just tear it down, and hopefully, and I know we keep saying this, like, oh, well, then we'll have the money when this big free agent class comes, and then we don't get any of those free agents, and we don't get any of the big draft prospects.
What do we say? What do we hear all the time about the Bulls? Oh, they're in on this guy. Oh, they want to trade for this guy.
Let
We
me
all
ask
know
you,
how it ends.
who was the last Bulls big free agent, like their big target that they wanted and they went after and got?
I mean, do you count DeMar DeRozan?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, Carlos
That's
Boozer was the
the
afterthought.
compensation for LeBron.
Yeah. So,
Pau Gasol was a nice get.
it just this team is not known for going and getting that guy. I mean, we drafted Jordan and Pippen. Um,
Is the
it's
biggest free agent signing been Dennis Rodman?
probably
Do you remember, was it 2014? You remember the sweepstakes for, oh, who was it? Am I drawing a blank? Why am I drawing a
Tracy
blank?
McGrady.
No.
What year was
Um
this?
like 2014, 2013, 2014, maybe 15. Why am I drawing a blank? Oh, Melo. For
Oh,
Carmelo Anthony. You
okay.
remember that?
Yeah.
And like the Bulls were like hardcore in on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he went back to the Knicks.
You're just not drawing the guys. There's no draw here. It's a bummer. And you can change that. It's just you've got to be relevant. The Bulls are not a relevant basketball team.
And they should be. Your brand because of Michael Jordan has made you like, a worldwide recognizable brand. And you play in the third largest market in the country. And the United Center is filled night after night. And yet here we are.
Yep. It's disappointing.
And there is no path to this team being relevant anytime soon.
No, none. Zero. Zero.
The only time they were relevant post Jordan is when you lucked into the minute chances to win the lottery to get Derrick Rose. If you don't win that lottery, you have 0 Eastern Conference appearances since Jordan.
And that was luck to get him, and it was awful luck what happened to him.
It was almost like a payoff. It's like, okay, well, guess what? It's going to even out. Sucks.
Yep. Blackhawks, it's All-Star break. Meh.
Bedard was at least in Toronto, so it was good to see him
was
there, but
yeah, he was there.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
let's wrap this up with some Bears. So I guess the biggest news is the scuttlebutt of Colin Cowherd. And so Colin Cowherd basically said that Caleb Williams is not interested in coming to the Bears.
Caleb Williams is not interested in coming to the Bears.
And then he turned around and did a moonwalk like he was Michael Jackson. The next day, he's like, well, this camp said that's not true. So
he said his camp said they don't want that out there.
Okay, fair. What if it's true though? I think it's stupid because we'd rather go to the Commanders. I don't think they're in any better position. The Patriots knows what's going on over there. Where does he really want to fall out of the top 5? Or is he hoping somebody that's good, just missing a quarterback, comes and trades up for him?
I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure.
Like, is he hoping like the 49ers are like, you know what? If we get Caleb Williams. I just don't understand what. So I'm not gonna buy the he's not coming to Chicago, or he's not interested. There's 32 teams, and there's a lot of them have established quarterbacks. They're not gonna the 49ers, I hate to break it to anybody, they're not getting Caleb Williams because they do not have the ammunition to go from the 31st or the 32nd pick to number 1. They just don't have that ammunition.
They could give us 3 first-rounders in George Kittle.
I don't think that's enough.
Okay, throwing
three
Debo.
first, 3 first, 3 seconds, and Debo. Okay, then
Party
maybe,
hard.
but those first round draft picks are going to be almost second round draft picks.
Right.
I mean, that's the part of the thing is, it's not all first round draft picks are the same.
No, they're not.
Last year it was smart. I'm sure there were other teams that were interested in trading to number 1, but Carolina, I think everybody outside of Carolina had a good feeling that that was going to be a top 10 pick.
Oh yeah, we all did. Little do we know, would it also be the first overall pick?
Right. So, you have to factor that in if you're the Bears and you're going to be willing to trade out of it is it's not just 3 first round picks, that's awesome, is you want them to be good first round picks.
Right.
To maximize what you get. So, I mean, I'm not having this debate anymore about Caleb
Yeah,
versus
I'm
Justin. It's
tired of
done.
it.
I'm tired of it. I just wanted to talk about the story that came out, and I just, is could he in his camp said, "Oh man, that history in Chicago of quarterbacks is bad." Yeah, that's fair. But to just be like, "No, not interested," that's some bad juju, and it doesn't really matter. If the
Bad
Bears,
voodoo mama juju.
like, here's the thing: if what's he gonna do? Sit out if the Bears draft him?
Yeah, maybe it's not his preferred place, but if he gets drafted, is he going to say no, not work hard? I don't know.
Yeah, no. He's gonna sign. He's gonna do what he needs to do, and that's just a matter of things, regardless of if he likes it or not.
Right.
Um, but I mean, I guess the other things are the Bears. The Bears rounded out some of their coaching positions. Um, is They brought in Chad Morton as the running backs coach, Chris Beatty as the wide receivers coach, and Jason Hodling as their assistant offensive line coach. So I don't know a lot about these guys, but I keep hearing people saying that this is an all-star uh, offensive coordinator. I mean, sorry, offensive coaching staff. I don't know if I go in that Kool-Aid
Or whatever
into
they
that,
say. So
but
you're not filling up the pitcher.
I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. I jumped in both feet when they were like, "Oh, they're bringing Luke Getzey," and I'm like, "Oh, he's coming from Green Bay, and he's going to bring this new modern offense." Stupid Matt Nagy, and I jumped in both feet. I'm not doing that again.
You ripped off the pack of sugar and you just dumped the whole thing into the pitcher before you even put the water or Kool-Aid mix in.
I was drinking lick-a-stick powder and washing it down with the Kool-Aid, and I'm not doing that. I do like the Shane Waldron hiring, and the nice thing is the staff he's building are they're actually guys that have done those jobs. Like their wide receivers coach, it's not a promotion. He's been a wide receiver coach. Their assistant offensive line coach was an offensive line coach. Their running back coach was a running back coach. Shane Waldron has been an offensive coordinator. It's guys that are going into positions that they've already done. It's not new step up, which is important to me. Um, they know where things can go right and wrong, and um, they've they have they've had time to reflect on things that they've done in that position. Hey, where have I done right and wrong in the past doing this job? So it's not learning on the fly. That's important to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and then uh, they brought in Thomas Brown, who they actually interviewed as offensive coordinator. Um, he's going to be uh, coming to the Bears, and so you've got another guy who you thought highly enough of to interview for your offensive coordinator position, and you're going to bring him here as an assistant to your offensive coordinator.
So he's Dwight.
Assistant to the regional manager. So I'm not unhappy with what they've done. And Ian Cunningham is not going anywhere because all of the GM positions are full. So he's back with the Bears, which is another mind to stay in the front office. So as much as I didn't think that the flu should be back, everything else is shaping up okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
On paper.
Yeah, we've played this game before.
Yeah, so the I guess the only other Bears things I have are the rumors are that they're gonna slap Jalen Johnson with the franchise tag. I'm hoping that means that they're just using it as a tool to give them more time to work out a deal.
Hey, did you see his defense won the NFC the Pro Bowl today?
You know, until about an hour or 2 hours ago, I forgot that the Pro Bowl was today. That's how little I care about it.
I forgot about it until after the game was over.
Yeah, like I was getting ready to set up my computer to send you the invite for this podcast, and I was like, oh hey, look. So yeah.
I mean, I forgot about the Pro Bowl, and I forgot about the NHL All-Star game because Bedard wasn't in it. So it's like, why do I?
Yeah. So Jalen Johnson will be with the Bears next year. Hopefully it's longer, but and Luke Getsy is the new offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders.
If that offense hums, I swear we're going to need to take some voodoo stuff to Hallis Hall.
So here's where I'm trying to do the math on this, and I would love your help on this.
Okay.
So the Bears organization felt that a lot of these issues with their offense was Luke Getsy's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Because they let him go. And I don't know what this means for Justin Fields, but they clearly felt that Luke Getsy was part of the problem. Now you have the Raiders who went through evaluations, and it seems based on their decision that they felt that Justin Fields is the problem and not Luke Getsy. So I would love to know. I would be willing to bet that if you polled 32 GMs in this league, you're going to be as split as the Bears fan base on Justin Fields.
Probably.
So it's just wild to me that they're going to ride with. I mean, who's their starting quarterback next year? Is Jimmy G under contract still?
I think so.
So Jimmy G and Luke Getsy, that's going to be the savior of that. Because I've heard a lot of people talking about that the Raiders could be a potential trade target if the Bears do go with Caleb Williams for trading Justin Fields. And I think this probably takes that off the table, right?
Yeah. Then again, the Raiders usually operate the opposite of how we think they're going to operate.
It's true. How funny would that be? Luke Getsy gets his job, and he's like, "Oh, thank goodness!" And then they're like, "Oh, hey, here's Justin Fields again. We got
Hey, hey, hey.
we're gonna put our dynamic duo back together.
They both look at each other like, oh no.
Uh, God, that's just I May can't happen fast enough. I just I just want to know what's happening. Just
Yeah,
I, I I don't care anymore.
I don't either. I'm
It
muting it on all social media platforms. I'm done.
I'm at the point where just tell me who I'm rooting for. I'm
Right.
rooting for the Bears. I just who's lining up under center.
Right.
That's all I care about at this point. So just you know, if they're gonna trade that for number one overall pick, hopefully it's early, super duper early, so I could just relax. Um, but I think this is all just going on until it it'll be midway through the uh it'll be midway through the first round before we're confident we know what's going on.
Absolutely. I missed last year where everybody and their mother knew they were trading that pick. It was just a matter of who.
Yep. God, such a disaster dumpster fire.
So
And,
sick of it.
and I know the two of us don't agree on the future home of the Chicago Bears, where it'll be located. And you're firmly entrenched in the Arlington Heights camp. And I,
Uh,
I, I,
that's where I want them to go, but
I am in the. I think we both want a state of the art facility.
yes,
I, I want a dome. I want all the bells and whistles. I don't want any corners cut, any pennies pinched. I want this to be just when you walk into this, you go, wow. And I like the stadium that the Rams play in when every announcer gushes about it. I want that.
yes,
I want
yes.
that. I don't want when they're like, "Oh, we're coming to historic Soldier Field." Oh, I'm gonna eat some good food in the city. Hey, what about the
Yeah,
stadium? It's a dump. Um, but
yep.
I I I would love it in the city. I don't want it in Arlington Heights, but I do see the appeal because it's a blank slate of how many acres you can just do whatever you want. There's no limitations there as far as
Exactly.
space. It's
Exactly.
You're going to be limited there, but I just want something awesome done, and I
And
I
I doubt
don't
it's going to happen now.
I don't. It does not seem like that Arlington Heights location is going to work. It's
They're so far off.
They're so far apart. They're like $100 million apart, and it's contentious at this point. Like there's lawyers and there's it's contentious. Like that's not the way you want to start that off.
No.
And in the city, you've got an agreeable partnership with the mayor, and it seems like you're trying to work that out. But the concern I have is, do you remember what was supposed to be on the lakefront in opening in a few months or a year?
On the lakefront?
Mm-hmm. The Star Wars Museum.
Oh.
But the group that the Friends of the Lakeshore or whatever fought that tooth and nail and got that blocked. So what are they going to block? Whatever the Bears are trying to do in the South Lot?
I don't
I
know.
I just um I don't know what that entails. Um that's my fear.
Yeah. It's never easy. It can never go right. It can never go smooth with this team. Never.
And I don't like the direction that it's happening.
I don't either. Look how quick this White Sox thing is coming together. I know nothing's official yet, but I feel much more confident about the Sox getting a new stadium, something that was announced like, what, 2-3 weeks ago? We've been on this Arlington Heights thing for multiple years now.
Yep. We've been on this, and it's farther. We're further away from a new stadium than we were a year and a half ago.
Right. Yep.
And it's frustrating. And, I know everybody's been like, oh, Kevin Warren, he's the savior, he's the genius. He's seeming more like a general contractor, and I'm less and less confident about what he's bringing.
I had so much freaking hope for that guy. So much hope. And it's been really, it hasn't been very long, so I don't want to say it's been a complete bust. We'll see how things turn out, but I was hoping we'd be further down by now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I just don't like the direction things are heading. And is that to say that it won't turn around? Like could a new stadium with all the bells and whistles still be coming? Sure. I'm not denying that. It's just I'm less and less optimistic.
Yep, I feel you.
So it's just it's just a bummer. And I just want to feel good about the football team that I love.
Yeah, and I never get that chance to.
No, you haven't most all your life. I've at least got it when I was a little kid. I got a hot minute of it.
The most I got was on this night when Devin Hester returned the kick and I thought we were going to win, and then, no.
Yeah. That day when that happened, I was so sure we were winning our second Super Bowl. I was so sure. I'm like, once he returned, I'm like, this is it. This is
Team of Destiny.
And
can't take it anymore.
Nope. Was there anything else you want to talk about?
Nope, I think I've said my piece.
I think that's going to do it for this episode of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Please hit subscribe however you listen to podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, etc. Share this podcast with your friends. How we grow the show. Follow us on social media at Swerski Sports, Facebook.com/Swerski Sports, SwerskiSports.com, or ShyFanPat2 for Alex on Twitter /X, or AlexanderJPatCreative.com for all the cool stuff that Alex does. And again, thank you guys so much for listening. And until next time, bear down.
Cubs win! What a lucky break! The good Lord wants the Cubs to win!
We thank Ditka and God for all they have provided.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win!
Oh, I don't want her, you can have her, she's a Packer fan. She can't fit in my van.
And she looks like number New Yorkers. Smoking crack is not legal on planes.
Bears 31 to -7.
The Bears! Oh, when the Bears go bearing down.